since. Hit the earth like an asteroid, did nothing but shoot for the moon since. It's the one and only Eagle Double.
Let's get it funky.
Remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances for missing
Back.
Super Bowl 56 is almost here, and if you're not a fan of the big game, which is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Rams, of course, you're going to want to tune into the halftime show. I'm here with Jane Stevenson. Jane, this year, we've got hip-hop heavyweights, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Doggy Dogg, and the queen of hip-hop, Mary J. Blige. What do you think of this year's picks?
Well, she's called the queen of hip hop soul. And that's important to emphasize because this woman has a lot of soul when she sings. She's one of my favorite live performers. I think they were very smart to bring her into this mix. If I were that, I would basically, make her the star of the show. I think it's really smart that they hired Mary J. Blige. I'm just going to say that up front. She's one of the most exciting and dynamic live performers in the world, bar none. Her song is called No More Drama. But my God, she brings the drama every time she sings. Deep knee bends, huge vocals. I'm really excited that they decided to include her in this mix. The other star of the show, I think, is going to be the actual stadium. This is only a 2-year-old stadium, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. Apparently has a retractable roof. It has a huge, what's it called, an infinity screen. How are they going to use these elements in the live show? I think it's going to be very interesting to watch architecturally as well as musically.
Dr. Dre said this is going to be one of the biggest thrills of his career. Is it a more inspired choice to go with all these generations of hip-hop legends? Dre hasn't performed live, I don't think, in close to 2 decades. We haven't seen him come through on a tour.
I think it appeals to the older viewers. The younger viewers are going to enjoy someone like Kendrick Lamar. There's people like you and me who've seen Eminem grow over the years. Yeah, it's definitely multi-generational. It'll be very interesting to see what kind of effects they use. If you remember last year with The Weeknd, he had many Weekends join him. So will they do something fun with that? Also, there's going to be an audience for crying out loud. Like 70,000 to 100,000 people can be held in SoFi Stadium. Last year we had cutouts because of COVID. So that brings the excitement. Also, the kind of being so close to Hollywood, a lot of stars in the stands in suites. Will they cut to their reactions during the halftime show? Well, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of utilize all of this this year.
Jane, the NFL has dealt with a lot of race issues over the last few years. Do you expect politics to play a part in the performances that we see on stage?
Well, it's interesting you should say that because there was some criticism of Dr. Dre performing. He used to be in a group called NWA, and the song that is causing problems is F the Police. Now, this goes all the way back to the late 80s. Some people were critical that they did choose Dr. Dre for this. It could happen. Sometimes things happen that are more subtle, that are kind of subtle shout-outs to people. I don't think it's going to be overt, if I had to guess. There'll be a lot of rehearsals leading up to this. Other people will be watching what they do. There might be something spontaneous that happens. We'll have to wait and see. But certainly a lot of these performers are known for being vocal and critical of the status quo. And there might be something that happens.
Might we get a big tour announcement right after?
We usually do, don't we? It would be exciting. What if they all went on tour together? That would be something that would be fantastic to see. I'm certainly hoping that there's some kind of announcement for one, if not all of these performers afterwards.
Okay, now it's time for the hardest question of all, Jane. Who would you rather see, or who would you like to see next year?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, my top pick would probably be Rihanna. We already talked about this. She's already said no in 2019 because of Colin Kaepernick and just deciding she couldn't be kind of two-faced about. She wanted to support him and not the NFL. So let's say she's out of it. I'd love to see a redemption for Janet Jackson. I just watched the A&E biography where she talks at length about this, how it was indeed an accident, how she's still friends with Justin Timberlake. I'm not saying I want to see her with Justin Timberlake. I'm just saying, why not in 2024? That'll be 20 years after. Can you believe it? Of her 2004 performance, the much discussed wardrobe malfunction. Whether or not she wants to do that remains to be another question. How about you, Mark? Who would you like to see?
Why not Drake, Jane? Drake's one of the biggest hip hop stars on the planet, most streamed artists of the decade. And we have yet to see him take on one of these huge, performances in front of millions of people. and tens of thousands of people in the stands. So I think Drake would be a great choice. And then he could bring on Justin Bieber as well. And the two of them can make it an all-Canadian affair. Thank you, Jane. Let us know what you think down below. Are you excited? Who do you want to see perform? And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.